Hello and welcome to the weirdly beardly world that is...
Not mustachely, not goateely. Behaving Beardly.
And that was one thing that I worried about when I went into the partner program, because obviously a lot of CFE's partners have very different content to me. It can be like, I mean, I love my PvP, but you got PvP focused creators, you got PvE focused creators, and you've got me that's just kind of a bit of an oddball that is a bit of a goofball and does everything. When I first started streaming, I started with Sea of Thieves, but after, I don't know how well versed you are with Sea of Thieves, but the first year, they didn't really add much to the game, and it actually wasn't much different from the beta, so I did actually get a bit fed up of Sea of Thieves. I feel weird kind of like trying to talk seriously when my face is covered in butterfly clips. If someone says, you know, how do I grow my channel? The first response is networking. You go, okay, what is networking? And then the person that says networking, they kind of get flustered and they go, I've got to say something now. So they're like, yeah, just hang out in other people's streams and Discords and chat.
Welcome to Behind the Streams, the place where we talk about the backstage stories, the struggles, and the experiences of streamers while we're learning from them. In the previous episode, which I highly recommend you watching, we had a discussion with 𝐊𝐿𝐷𝐻𝐒 about cancel culture. 𝐊𝐿𝐷𝐻𝐒 is a living proof that you can do it. Because after all of these attacks and after she being targeted on Twitch, she alternate her whole brand and put something very different on YouTube's table. So if you have the passion and the will to change your whole content, you can do it, and in a very successful way. Today we have a totally different guest. He is a Twitch partner, but also a Sea of Thieves partner. He is a pirate who is mostly creating fun, engaging, and entertaining content for everyone. He has a very interactive stream, he's fully supportive, and he always promotes a positive vibe on his community. And he is BehavingBeardly. Hello, I'm so happy to have you on the show.
That sounded really negative to all your previous guests. This guy's completely different. He's really positive and unique. It sounds like you're saying all your previous guests were not.
But you have the most unique content I've seen on Sea of Thieves, I gotta tell you that. And one of the first questions that came to my mind when I first saw your channel is, how did you manage to grow so fast, even though you're streaming from like 2018, right?
Yeah, kind of. Well, that was fast.
Yeah, I mean, considering.
It's weird because I think if you look at my Twitch, my Twitch statistics, my first stream will have been March 2018, or February. But either way, that's because that's when Sea of Thieves launched. That was Sea of Thieves launched in March 2018. But at the time, I didn't even know what Twitch was. Sea of Thieves had some kind of promotion or something with Mixer basically, and they wanted people to basically broadcast on. I can't even remember if you got a reward or something like in-game cosmetics, but I just went live on Mixer just for that sake, and then someone suggested trying out Twitch because I used to be in a Sea of Thieves fan page group, and someone said, "Oh, you should put your footage up on Twitch." So it wasn't even live. I wasn't live in 2018. It was pre-recorded footage of me playing the open beta of Sea of Thieves and just using the chat room to chat.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't really have any followers. It was just for that Facebook group. but then I got the affiliate status like pop up, and I didn't know what it was. So I was like, all right, I might have a look at this. But anyway, it all kind of fell into a weird kind of situation of timing in my life where I just had a little boy. My wife was on maternity leave. And when she went back to work, I started what's called paternity leave, which is, where the father can take time off work.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was off work, I thought I might give live streaming a go, basically.
Yeah.
And then it was September 2018 where I thought I might actually have a go at this, and started streaming more regularly, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But how did I manage to grow so fast? I don't ever suggest this because it's not exactly healthy, but I just don't stop. I don't mean I don't stop streaming, but like I'm constantly have my head in content creation, whether it's, managing my social medias, videos for YouTube, broadcasting, managing my stream, researching, looking up how to do kind of all the little tricks that I do on stream and all that. But yeah, ever since September 2018, I don't think I've ever really had a day off. I just work at it nonstop, basically.
Oh my goodness. So I was about to ask you what other games have you played before Sea of Thieves, but you got me there. Oh my gosh. So, yeah.
I was going to say, when I first started streaming, I started with Sea of Thieves, but after, I don't know how well versed you are with Sea of Thieves, but the first year, they didn't really add much to the game, and it actually wasn't much different from the beta. So I did actually get a bit fed up of Sea of Thieves. But before I started streaming, I used to play a lot of Gears of War. I used to stream a lot of Gears of War at one point. But yeah, other than that, I occasionally dip into like a little bit of Overwatch, or I used to do like horror games on a Sunday. But it's always been on stream. My focus has always been Sea of Thieves, basically.
Oh, right. So you have like over than 2K hours streaming Sea of Thieves. I mean, wow. I cannot stick to one game for like
Don't call me
3
out
days.
like that. Oh dear.
So how long did it take you to become a partner with Sea of Thieves?
It was only August last year, which was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That was 8 months ago, not even. So that's when I got partnered with Sea of Thieves. I always see, this what it was when people say, how did you manage to grow so fast? I really don't think I did. I was always around. Like, I always wanted Sea of Thieves partner way back when it first got announced. But it took me a long time to build up to it, like a really long time. I think so anyway. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like it took me a long time anyway. But yeah, so since September 2018, I guess, until September 2020. That's 2 years that I was working towards Sea of Thieves partner.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, 2 years becoming a partner, even to a game or a platform, it is huge, in case you don't know that. I'm just saying.
Honestly, I live in a little bubble, me. I don't pay much attention to what's going on around me. I just kind of have tunnel vision and focus.
That might be so good, because other people, they're struggling and struggling and struggling so many years, and it is very, very cool that you got it. So what would you say that are the pros and cons of being a partner to a specific game on Twitch?
That's a good question. So, I mean, if it wasn't for being partnered with Sea of Thieves, I definitely wouldn't have got Twitch partner as quick as I did. I may never have got it, honestly. What's great, and I mean, I can only really say what's great about being partnered with Sea of Thieves because that's all I know. But the Sea of Thieves team, I just mean that the whole Sea of Thieves team are so incredibly supportive. Even before I was Sea of Thieves partner, I was struggling to get Sea of Thieves partner because basically, I had a plan to work at getting Sea of Thieves partner when my little boy started part-time school. But then, because I was getting the kind of numbers, but Sea of Thieves require you to have 10,000 viewer hours per month. But I'd struggle to get that because I was only doing 2 or 3 streams and short streams because I had to look after the little one and things like that. So when schools were going to reopen, I was going to kind of put more hours in and work towards it. But then obviously COVID hit. The schools didn't open, so he didn't go to school. But the Rare team, I don't want to mention any names, but because I don't think they was allowed to do it. But they really helped me out. That one of them got in touch with me and said, "Look, you're a really well-known member of the Sea of Thieves community. We'd all love to have you in the Sea of Thieves partnership." And he helped me out basically. Got me some giveaways to do on stream that were normally exclusive to Sea of Thieves partners and things like that. But yeah, I just think that that's the pros is you become part of this community of an extended family of either content creators, community managers, developers, and they all kind of really help you grow, and you all kind of help each other. While I'm rambling, I'm trying to think of negatives. I suppose, I mean, it's speculation. I suppose the negatives are that, if Sea of Thieves was to ever struggle to get viewers, or not, I know, it's got a shelf life at the end of the day. I guess then my channel would suffer as well. But the great thing about Rare and Sea of Thieves is they're already working on a new game at the moment, and I've forgotten what it's called. But either way, we'll be partners for that game when that comes out. So as long as we enjoy that content, Rare will always continue to support us and help us grow. So I'm struggling to think of negatives, to be honest. But no, it's definitely been a positive in my experience. But that's not to say that it's a path for everybody. Do you know what I mean? Just because it's been a massive positive for me doesn't mean that it would be a big positive for everyone.
Yeah, of
to
course.
kind of focus on one game. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But a lot of people would have think that if you're partnered with a game, you're not allowed to play other games. Is that true?
No. Honestly, again, it might be the case with other developers, but Rare are, in my opinion, too relaxed. But that's just my opinion. They don't care. As long as you are a positive influence and kind of hold their values in your content. So as long as you're not following their kind of, key values and ideals in creating your content, I don't think that they'd care if you was only streaming 1 day a month, honestly. I've forgotten what the minimum requirement is. I think it's 12 hours a month is all they ask.
Yeah.
And even if you turn around to them and say, "Oh, this month I'm focusing," as an example, if Raid Shadow Legends asked you to stream Raid Shadow Legends for a month and nothing else, and you said to Rare, "Look, I've got this partnership for a month," they'd be like, "Yeah, fine." That's what I think anyway. They're very laid back, honestly. But that's just Rare. I can't speak for other companies. Yeah.
But are there any days that you want to play another game to your stream? I mean, how do you deal with that?
No.
That was...
No. I'm weird. I sometimes think that Sea of Thieves was created for me. Like, it just suits me so well. Like, if it was a constant PvP fest, if it was constant PvP, I'd get burned out of it. I'd get fed up. There is a lot of downtime where you're like sailing around from one objective to another, and that might bore some people. But for me, it's great because it means, okay, I've got a bit of downtime now. I can, do some silly games with viewers. I can just chat nonsense. It becomes a bit of a just chatting stream until I end up in a situation where I've got to focus more on the game, and that kind of brings my attention back into the game. So for me, it's perfect. Now, I'm a big Gears of War fan, so when a new Gears of War game comes out, or a Tomb Raider or something like that, I always do kind of face that struggle because I don't have time to play games off stream. So I will dedicate a stream to playing Gears of War, and, my viewership does half because my viewership is built off Sea of Thieves. But I don't know. It's one stream in a blue moon. Just deal with it, basically. One thing that I always say is important is you've got to enjoy creating your content. So if you want to take a day to play a different game, take that day, and maybe you can do something on that stream, like, I don't know, make it a bit of a community day, invite your viewers to play along with you. If I do a campaign-placed game, I'll normally try and, read the narrative in characters' voices, or I don't know, do a giveaway suited to that game. Trying to keep some retention. So I played Star Wars Squadrons when that released, and I gave away some Star Wars Squadrons game keys just so my regular viewers might go, I'll still hang out, watch, have a bit of a laugh, so I can have a chance at winning that game, I suppose. But yeah, it doesn't faze me too much because I'm a bit of a weirdo, basically. No, I love Sea of Thieves. There's something wrong with it.
I mean, oh my goodness, this is so good because actually the game that you fell in love with, it is a very popular game on Twitch, and that's double the trouble. I mean,
no, definitely.
A win-win.
I've been following Sea of Thieves since nearly 2 years before it launched. I didn't even game that much. Like I said, I only played a Gears of War occasionally. I only had like a day one Xbox and a Kinect camera. And I remember I barely used it. And the announcement trailer at E3 came out for Sea of Thieves, and I got so excited at seeing like this open world sandbox PvPvE pirate game. Because come on, pirates.
All right, and
it's just captured. And I was part of the alpha testing. I've always been involved with them, and if it wasn't for Sea of Thieves, probably wouldn't even own a gaming console anymore. I definitely would not stream. I would not be on Twitch at all. So I owe Sea of Thieves a lot.
So it is truth that before Sea of Thieves, there wasn't any serious game about pirates and stuff like that. I would say that people would stick to or something. But did you like in general all of the pirate kind of games and stuff like that?
It's one of those, like, I was always a fan of the Assassin's Creed games, and
Black
then obviously
Flag.
like, yeah, they were amazing. And then when Black Flag came out,
Yeah.
that to me is the one single best Assassin's Creed that's ever come out. Maybe it's not technically, but it's just because it's pirates. But yeah, we all played, was it Sid Meier's Pirates?
Yeah,
thingy? What was it
yeah.
called again? But yeah, there was
There was
just
also
pirates.
one game that it was announced. I don't know if it was released though. It was called like Skulls and Bones, I think. Have you checked this out?
It's not out yet. It is going to be coming out in future, but it's completely different to its original concept, basically. It was supposed to come out, I think, 2, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah, I thought it was cancelled.
It kind of was, but it's because so it was very much from what I know, it was very much the mechanics of Black Flag ship combat, which is kind of strategy type based. I mean, it never appealed to me, and they've changed it now, and it's basically now an open world sandbox, like Sea of Thieves. So with Unreal Engine, which sounds amazing.
It
So
is.
we'll wait and see what happens there.
Okay, so the title will remain the same, like Skulls and Bones,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm very sure you are familiar with the Sea of Thieves community. Are they supportive with each other?
Sea of Thieves community? Never heard of them. I'm joking. No, I honestly and again, it's hard for me to say because I haven't come from any other, or I don't know any other gaming community, but apart from Gears of War, and I don't know how much you know about Gears of War, but that's a volatile environment, to put it kindly. But no, the Sea of Thieves community is incredible. It's amazing. I mean, it's divisive in that you've kind of got these two sides that play the game very differently. And that was one thing that I worried about when I went into the partner program, because obviously a lot of Sea of Thieves partners have very different content to me. It can be like, I mean, I love my PvP, but you got PvP focused creators, you got PvE focused creators, and you've got me that's just kind of a bit of an oddball that is a bit of a goofball and does everything. But and we all have our disagreements, but at the same time, we all have this great respect for each other. And when we're like hashing out what we think the game should be, like we all disagree, but at the same time, we all kind of acknowledge each other's ideas and just talk it through. But that's kind of specific. But the community as a whole is incredible, and I was gobsmacked when I became part of the Sea of Thieves partner program. And you've got like your top 5, top 10 creators that I always thought, well, they'll just do their own thing. They won't be involved, but all of them have been incredibly involved, supportive. Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, definitely.
Although you haven't tried that much of a variety streaming, let's say, do you think that the a key of the success is sticking to one game?
No, not at all.
Oh.
It's just different for everybody. I do. It's hard. I don't want to say that I cringe, but it's great that people kind of see me and my channel and they say, you know, I want to do that. I want to become a full-time creator. You know, I want to stream on Twitch. I'll do what Beardly does. And you've got to do. I know it sounds so cliche. I'm trying not to sound cheesy, but I think you've got to do what works for you. I mean, the reason why this works for me is that I'm a bit of a scatty-brained plonker. You know, I'm overactive. You know, I don't know. It's, you know, basically I see a lot of people that will go, I'm going to focus Sea of Thieves. I'm going to wear a silly hat. I'm going to grow a beard. You know, and it'll work because that's what works. But no, honestly, I think for a lot of people, focusing on one game or even focusing on Sea of Thieves will probably damage their content and damage their channel. They're competing with so many different people. You've got to kind of just, I don't know, I guess it takes a while to find what works for you. And, you know, that might be, I mean, I've got friends that don't touch Sea of Thieves and they're very successful Twitch streamers. And, you know, they just play variety indie developer games and they've made a name of themselves for doing that. You know, there's an audience for everybody. It's just about tapping into that audience. You know, I'm not saying that sticking to one game won't be great for you. It might be, but this is the whole, you know, magic of it all. No one can tell you what's going to work for you or anybody else or people in general, for that matter.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And also, you are, as I told you before, one of the most creative and unique and innovative creators on Twitch, and especially when it comes to Sea of Thieves. So, how did you come up with all of your ideas that you implemented on your content inside and outside of the game?
just my scatty brain. No, this sounds really weird because again, this is a piece of advice that you always get as a content creator is to, I mean, I don't know if I even should say this. They always say, you know, hang out in other people's streams, watch other people's streams, get ideas from other people's streams. Especially when I first started streaming on Twitch, I'd never watched a single person stream. And I would start streaming, I'd open OBS and I'd read loads of online documentation on how OBS works. I'd never used broadcast software. I'd never used Premiere Pro. I'd never used Photoshop. I'd never used anything creative. I just watched endless YouTube tutorials and went through every menu. I have broke OBS so many times. But it means that once you broke it so many times, it means that you know how to fix it.
Exactly.
I find it weird that now, you know, I say after what, 2 to 3 years, 3 years maybe, I was releasing tutorials on YouTube on how to do these tricks I do on stream 2 years ago. And it's just like, but I had zero idea. I used to just, if I get an idea in my head, like I want to be able to do this, I don't look for others that have done it. I will sit there and try and find a way to do it. So it doesn't matter, you know, I can't think of any examples, but if I see something, if I think of an idea that I want to execute, I will sit there at my desk and try and find ways, you know, if I can find a piece of software that I can use with another piece of software that'll create an effect that I can put onto stream, then, you know, I'll find a way to do it basically.
So that was very interesting what you said, that you haven't watched other streamers. Are you keep doing that?
Honestly, I'll be blatantly honest. I don't really watch other streams.
All right. So how about this networking thingy? How's that working for you?
Well, it's a weird term, is networking, considering that my last job was I was a career coach teaching senior level executives how to build their online presence and network. But like this is what I've been for some people. Is like I keep saying, it's different for everyone. Like I don't want to say, you know, it doesn't work or it doesn't make sense. If hanging out in lots of people's streams or, you know, larger streamers' streams or whatever it is, and chatting to them and getting to know their communities, it will work for people. It will definitely work for people. But when I'm sat at my desk, I don't want to be spending my time just hanging out in people's streams. You know, I will kind of focus on building my brand, maybe through social media, you know, through Discords. It's really hard to think of what I did in the earlier days. I mean, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but there's always this kind of, I was going to say there's Discords, but I don't really hang out in other people's Discords because I learned a horrible lesson a few years ago when I first started streaming. There's always these Discords that are focused around streamer communities, and they're basically, it's kind of a lurk for lurk experience, and I got sucked into all that, and that did so much damage to my channel in the earlier days. So it's what I mean. It's hard when you think of networking, because if you can look at what you're doing as networking and kind of subcategorize it as a follow for follow type scenario, or a support for support, as you all call it now. I don't know. Swerve it, basically. There's no shortcuts. There's no easy way. It's slow. It's laborious. I think the best way to network is to put yourself out there on social media, create your content, put it out there on social media, and then you get seen. You make those natural, organic connections. Then you start talking to those people. You know, even the people that I stream with regularly, I'm in Captain Falcor, Fuzzy Bond. You know, I've got my friend Yusumo, Alienate the Bunny. I never sit and watch their streams ever, but I'm good friends with them, and we all talk in Discord, in private messages. We all talk on social media. We all get on really, really well, which I think is more kind of productive networking, maybe, if that makes sense.
I don't know.
I'm kind of rambling, and this is why I don't like doing these kind of things. I feel like I give bad advice, but
No. Everybody have their own experience, and that's what we're doing in here, because every experience has something for everybody. You know, I know for many streamers that this networking is their biggest advice. For some, it doesn't work like that, and it's totally depending on the streamer and their type and their personality, and you know.
Well, it's not advice. It's a buzzword. You know.
Yeah.
If someone says, you know, how do I grow my channel? The first response is networking. You go, okay, what is networking? And then the person that says networking, they kind of get flustered, and they go, I've got to say something now. So they're like, just hang out in other people's streams and Discords and chat. And it's like, well, no, I think, I don't know. It is hard because I don't like the word networking, but the thing is, networking does work, but I don't like the kind of the buzzword it's becoming in content creation and streaming. You kind of got, to me, it's about building genuine and organic relationships. And even, I don't know, and you know, and then gradually that builds into your own community. And, you know, people always say to me that they find it amazing that I respond to every single comment, whether it be on YouTube or social medias. You know, I'm always in my Discord. If someone asks a question in Discord, I'm always the first person to respond. And to me, that's more genuine and engaging networking rather than, you know, just hanging out in 10 different streams at once, which that's not for me.
Whatever works for you, you know, that's the healthiest way. So talking about other platforms, which other platforms do you use as a vessel to your channel, and what kind of content do you create over there?
All of them.
Oh my God.
Why? No, so that's one thing that when I first started streaming, people used to always say, don't use Facebook. Facebook is not somewhere where you can grow your brand. In the first 2 years, definitely, I had my most success on Facebook. And that's just because, like I say, I used to be involved in marketing in the past, and I'm probably older than the general Twitch streamer when they start out. And I knew Facebook, and I knew how the Facebook algorithms worked, and I knew how to get the most out of Facebook. So I built my brand up. 100% I built my brand up on Facebook to start up with. But the biggest mistake I made was I said, well, I'm not going to use Twitter. I don't like Twitter. That was a huge mistake. Use every single tool that's available to you. Even if you don't really use it, just have it. You know, I use Instagram, but I don't rate Instagram, but for some people, they've had, excessive success building their Twitch channel up through using their Instagram or TikTok. So just have all of them. I'm not saying like focus all your effort on, if you've got a TikTok, you don't have to put 3 videos up every single day and divert some traffic. Like my YouTube diverts a lot of traffic to my Twitch, but I only put maybe 1 video up a week if I'm lucky. It depends on school holidays and things. If it's a school holiday, I don't put any videos up. But still use the tools you might as well. And the types of content I put out on there does vary. So like on Facebook, Twitch clips work really well. I think especially if you look at general Facebook content that works, it tends to be sketch videos, funny videos. You've got like Viva La Dirt League, you've got Lad Bible, you've got, all that kind of stuff that's just like comedy clips and stuff. So like funny clips or highlights of your Twitch stream work well on Facebook for me. Instagram, I tend to put my more personal stuff on there. So, when me and my little boy are out for a day, I'll normally put a photo of us on Instagram. Twitter is always just kind of whatever's on my mind at the time. YouTube, obviously, highlight videos and tutorials. My tutorials, because here's the funny thing: I don't enjoy making stream tutorials. I just don't enjoy making them.
But why? You were like a coach before, right?
I know, and that's why I left. No, yeah, I enjoy coaching face to face a lot, and I enjoy talking to people live on Discord or and helping them out. But when it comes to editing, coaching, or I don't know, tutorials on YouTube, I'm just not the kind of guy that enjoys sitting at a desk editing videos. It's weird. I much prefer to be live and engaging and talking to somebody. Whereas I do make highlight videos of my Twitch streams. They don't get anywhere near as much engagement, but I do enjoy making those because I like being at least creative with that kind of content. So it's that's just basically the kind of content that I put out on those platforms, I guess.
That's very interesting, especially the Facebook one, because a lot of people don't believe in Facebook these days.
If you look across my social media platform, I think I've got more followers on Facebook than any other platform.
That's very, very
apart
interesting.
From Twitch, obviously.
Yeah. Also, recently there were some discussions about Twitch versus YouTube because some people move on to YouTube for streaming and everything. And as I know, you have a YouTube channel, and have you ever thought of switching and going to another platform to stream?
Is that a thing at the moment?
Yeah.
Really? That just shows how much of a bubble I live in. That's strange, because I know I met through my channel growing on Twitch. I met a lot of people who were. I know it sounds really strange, actually. I met a lot of people who were really big on YouTube, who just hate the platform. and have been working their asses off for the last year or two to try and live stream on Twitch instead. So I find that really interesting. I guess it's one of these things where it'll always go back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've tried with YouTube, not live streaming. I'll not, to answer your question, I've got no intention of live streaming on YouTube. And obviously I've wanted to grow my content on YouTube and put some more focus on that. And I've tried to find, YouTube communities. I've tried to find avenues but YouTube just seems to be like a massive follow. There's no community that I can find. Maybe it's just not me seeing it, but it just seems to be the only ones I can find are follow for follow, sub for sub. Do you want to buy 1,000 sub bots?
Yeah.
That's all I see. I don't know. That's my experience of YouTube. And I've personally never come across someone, especially someone that was successful on Twitch, that wants to move across to YouTube for live streaming. I've never come across anyone that said that, but maybe I'm missing something. Maybe if people are at the point where they've been, I don't know, trying to break through on Twitch and they're maybe getting frustrated and want to move to YouTube and broadcast on YouTube, and again, that might work for that situation and things, but it's just, it's not something I've seen of, heard of, or experienced. No. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. All right. So, what are your future plans regarding to your stream and your channel?
First thing, I obviously started to do a bit more research into what's going on Twitch, because apparently I know nothing. Apparently everyone's moving to YouTube. I don't know. Right. So, ever since day one, again, my brain's always in 15 places at once. You can probably tell by this conversation. I kind of like, I don't know, I'm all over the place.
I can totally relate to that. No worries.
I've got a list on my phone, and it's just an endless list of ideas.
Whoa.
And basically, every time I'm sitting in front of my computer and I'm like, if I've actually got time spare, I'll open up that list and go, right, what can I do right now? What have I got time to do? What have I got the resources to do? Whether it's, it can be something as simple as a really basic, a new scene that I want to do, a new animation I want to build, a new system I want to incorporate. My main focus this year, because I've already had it's very exciting this year. You got to bear in mind that all this started for me when COVID was in its peak, and here in the UK we've been in lockdown for God knows how long. And things are just starting to open back up. So, I got CFE's partner, I got Twitch partner, and I've not been able to go anywhere or see anyone. There's been no TwitchCon, there's not been no EGX, there's been nothing.
Yeah.
So my focus this year is to start getting out there and going to events and things like that. I know that's not really kind of, my content specifically, but that's kind of my focus this year. But yeah, I've got an endless list of ideas and things that I want to do, events that I want to do. What's great is again on about networking. I use things like Streamloots. I speak to the guys at Rocks regularly. I've made a few contacts at Streamlabs, Stream Elements, and I'm always chatting to all those folks that work for all them companies with ideas that I have. And some of the things that are implemented in some of those things now are ideas that I came up with a while ago. So like I'll say, it'd be really cool if we could do this on your platform. And they'll be like, oh, actually, we'll look into that. And it gets added. So I've still got like ideas for them that I want to put to them, but I don't want to put it to them until I can kind of put it together myself and present them with an idea and get it incorporated.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, basically.
Awesome. So I want to thank you so much for today's discussion. It was awesome. We learned so many things and so many things that it was like a shock to me. So thank you. Thank you so much. It was awesome.
No, but this is the thing, because you don't, obviously when you got people from different kind of communities and social bubbles, and it's always interesting when you hear what's kind of going on elsewhere and you're like, what?
Exactly.
The first tip that I would kind of present to anyone, you've got to have fun, is what I always say. The amount of, don't focus on, whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be playing games or whatever it is. Don't create content specifically to generate numbers, because if you're not fully engaged with it and enjoying the content that you're making, you will get burned out and fed up in no time, basically. So like I say, I mentioned earlier, in my first year of Twitch streaming, I was getting a bit bored of Sea of Thieves in the state it was at that time, and decided to just focus on games that would generate higher numbers. And they most definitely did. But I got fed up with streaming because I was playing games that I was not fully engaged with, and communities that were not fully engaged with. And in the long term, it did a lot of damage to my channel. So I guess tip 1, have fun. There you go. TLDR, have fun. Okay, tip 2. Don't make excuses, actually. I do say this all the time. So even when I started streaming and I was struggling to get those initial viewer numbers, I used to always blame somebody else. I used to say, well, it's because Twitch, I'm so sorry. It's because Twitch is full of little middle-class boys whose mummy and daddy bought them all the gear. It's genuinely a mindset I used to have when I started streaming, and it's nonsense. Don't make excuses. or don't blame anybody else. There is an audience for everybody. It's about building your brand, tapping into that audience, getting yourself exposed to the audience. You know, I started streaming with nothing but an Xbox and a Kinect and zero knowledge of streaming. I didn't even know what Twitch was. So I think one of the worst things people do is, because you hear it a lot, is they'll make excuses like, well, I don't have the time. You know, everybody else has the time. You know, I'm not like you, Beardly. I don't have all the time in the world. And that's nonsense. I had zero time when I started. I used to stream 2 nights a week, 3 hours a night while my wife and little one were asleep. You know, you've just got to build from somewhere and work on that. And the minute you start making excuses, and you start to believe in excuses, you won't believe in your own content. You won't believe that you can do it, and your content will suffer for it. I hope that makes sense. And I guess leading into from that, I guess tip 3, something else I always say, which I know rubs some people up the wrong way, is just be honest with what you're doing. If you want to make a career out of streaming, and you know you're gonna need, you know, obviously, if you're gonna make a career out of streaming, you need people to subscribe to you. You need people to support you. You need to kind of build that core base of engaged community members. You know, that's at the end of the day, you cannot earn revenue. You cannot earn revenue from Twitch without expecting people to pay you. So be honest from the get-go. Don't, you know, when you start streaming, don't be scared to say, I want to make a living from this, because people will put you down for saying, I want to make a living from this. They will say, you shouldn't do it for money. But if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. That is your business plan. That is what you, where you want to go. And the problem is, if from the start you're scared to say that you want to make a career, and you sit there and say, no, I'm not doing it to make money. I'm just doing it for the fun, and I want to see where it ends up. Then that's what people will believe your intentions are, and they will say, well, they're just doing it for fun. They don't need or want the support. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense. But yeah, so basically, if you're not advertising the fact that you are doing this seriously, or if you don't take it seriously yourself, how do you expect other people to take you seriously, that you want to be make a career out of it and spend that money in supporting your channel? Again, I don't know if I'm very good at kind of explaining myself, but that's kind of a mindset that I have. From the first day, I've always said that I want to make a career out of streaming, and I used to get a lot of flack for it in the early days. And they're like, "Yeah, but you stream to 4 people. Who are you?" And I'm like, "Well, that's not my long-term goal." I'm like, and as you build your brand up, you can, and yeah. Basically, I don't know, anyone that puts you down, or anyone that's giving you advice by putting you down, you do not want to be taking advice from them, because they have not got your best intentions at heart.
While talking with BehavingBeardly, I've learned a lot of things, like how much you can grow without the typical networking, how Facebook can be a useful tool even in these days, and how it is to become a partner with a specific game. What is the game that you spend the most hours into? Write the game in the comments. And if you like today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so that you will be notified when the next episode is going to be out. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/fairylifeshow and join the comic book of Twitch. Until the next episode, keep being awesome.